Hello, this is Dr. Young, and I'm going to go over your week 1 assignments. I'm going to try to do this every week with a short video. You have a research paper and discussion, and I've had some questions about the discussion, so I just want to clarify. You're doing a SWOT analysis, and you're playing the role of an executive at Napster. Napster is a music service. If you don't know what Napster or Pandora is, you'll need to do some research on that online. But basically, you're doing a SWOT analysis. Pandora is going to be one of your competitors. So that based on that scenario itself, you should be able to formulate and alleviate weaknesses and threats. And then you can think about what are your strengths compared to Pandora, and then what opportunities that can provide. So what you need to do really is study what a SWOT analysis is and some examples. Look for some examples of a SWOT analysis that will help you think through this role-playing scenario. So that's how you do this discussion. Usually, any kind of situation, some students had some problems with the opportunities. I mean, even when bad things happen, sometimes that generates new opportunities. Example, you work at a company A, and they are laying off and closing down the company. Yes, that's a bad thing, but it gives you the opportunity to learn a new skill, maybe go back to school, or do something else that you maybe have done before. So anything can bring about an opportunity. You have to think through it in that kind of, you have to think through what, when this happens, it can create an opportunity for something else to happen. So you have to think through it that way. And your research paper, excuse me, I have a little cold. I apologize. I'm a little, raspy is what the word I'm looking for is. So I apologize if I sound a little like there's a frog in my throat. Your research paper should be 2 pages. When I say 2 pages, I don't mean, that doesn't include the title or reference page. So make sure like the content, the body of the paper is what meets that requirement. As you read your chapter, you're going to read about competencies of an HR manager. So you should be able to identify 3 different ones for the first part of this assignment. Now, then you have to include a description of how a change was introduced and implemented in your workplace or other organization. Now, you can use a past employer, any past employer. If you witnessed a change, but maybe you weren't a part of it, that's fine too. But it needs to be something pretty substantive, some major change that occurred. When you read chapter 1, you're going to describe whether the change that you witnessed or experienced personally was a proactive or reactive change. And you'll see companies, something bad happens and they're scrambling to deal with it. It's more of a reactive position. Another example is seeing I remember, and this is an old example, granted, but I remember my organization scrambling to update their computer systems and preparing for the non-event, pretty much, that occurred of Y2K. Remember that? So, just an example. Include your comments on how effective or not the change was and how it was impacted by HR involvement. I really want to see you tell me how HR was involved in this change. Maybe they were, usually behind the scenes they're involved, but how did you see their involvement? What did they do? What are some of the actions that they took? So, an example would be, I know so many times I've been employed where, in an organization where they have decided to change their training programs, and HR was really involved in that because they're looking at, okay, so we're recruiting. How successful is our recruiting? Do we have a lot of turnover? Is it due to lack of skills, lack of knowledge base? okay, how can we remedy that? And then they would proceed to change their entire training program. So that's just an example of how that can, they can get involved into that kind of change, but there's many other types, many other ways as well. They might change their interview process. Usually this is driven by large turnover, that kind of situation. You're not keeping employees. So then they have to figure out why, and that's one possibility right there is training. Training needs to be changed. Anyway, so 2 pages, maximum of 2 pages, minimum of 2 pages. That means 2 pages. Try to keep it right there. Don't give me a 3 or 4 or 5 page paper, because it's not necessary for this. Have a cover page. APA. You need to follow APA format. And always have an introduction and a conclusion paragraph. That's important for every paper that you would write. You need to, open up with a little bit of background and close with a nice summary that ties everything together in the paper. And that's about all. You can use rich text format, but I prefer Word if you have Word. Either way, Word's easier to grade. If formatting's better, I prefer Word if you have it. And make sure to use headings. And I'm going to give you a link to a properly formatted paper in APA style and the Owlet Purdue site, which is an excellent resource. So if you have any questions or concerns about this, let me know. I have this wonderful app on my phone now, so if you email me, I can see it more quickly than I would when I had to sit down at my laptop at the end of the day and check my emails. So email me if you have any questions. I'll be glad to assist. Have a great week. Thank you.